Christmas holidays are some of the most popular times to watch pornography, even for Christians. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can go through the holiday season and stay a clean man. Hey, my name is Sathiya Sam. I'm a men's transformation coach, international speaker, and a former pastor, and I've dedicated the last 6 years of my life to helping men quit pornography. Now, the reason that I've dedicated my life to helping men quit pornography is because I was a pornography addict myself. I had a 15-year addiction. I struggled as a pastor's kid when I was young, and then I became a pastor who was watching pornography behind closed doors. So I've been there, and I know how challenging this can be. And as a matter of fact, I had my last relapse in February 2016, but the Christmas of 2015, just a few months before, I had one of my worst relapses. And when I reflected on my 15-year struggle with pornography, I realized that generally speaking, I had some of my worst binges and some of my worst relapses during the Christmas season, which is kind of ironic. You know, we're supposed to be remembering that Jesus is the reason for the season. We have extra Christmas services. It's such a spiritually charged season. There's so many good reasons to not watch pornography. And yet I, like many other men, fell into that statistic. And I was watching a lot more porn during the holidays than I was even in my regular day-to-day life. Now, there's a bunch of reasons why Christmas holidays are actually more common times to watch pornography. Again, if pornography struggles were a head issue, we would logic ourselves out of it. You know, we would focus on Jesus being the reason for the season. We would keep the spiritual priorities in order, and we wouldn't watch pornography. But obviously, if you're watching this video and if you just listen to my story, we know that's not the case because porn addiction is actually an issue of the heart. And there's a couple specific factors that make it a really challenging season if you're struggling with pornography. The first thing is loneliness. So even though this is a time where you're around friends and you're around family, the reality is this is a very lonely season for a lot of guys. We feel disconnected. We don't feel like we can open up to these people. And we're in environments where things should be awesome, you know, and we should be all getting along and we should feel super connected. Sometimes we walk away from these events feeling more disconnected than ever before. Now, there's also the other side of it. You know, your family might be estranged or you may not have a lot of friends. You might actually be alone as you go through the holiday season. And that can be really triggering as well. And that makes porn a very appetizing opportunity because porn offers us this fake connection. Now, if we take this a step further, we know that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection. And when we feel disconnected from God, that can often rise to the surface during the holiday season because it is such a spiritually oriented season. We kind of feel like we should be disconnected or we should be connected to God. And because we're disconnected, we feel like something's wrong with us. We feel ashamed, and the disconnection alone leaves us more prone to engaging in addictive behaviors and watching pornography. Now, another reason that the holidays can be very triggering is because hanging around family, dealing with financial stress, we are regularly exposing ourselves to things that trigger us and cause us to feel dysregulated. And when we have these triggering experiences, if we don't have healthy ways of coping, we are going to seek out opportunities like pornography to medicate, to feel relief, or to somehow cope with the uncomfortable feelings and the triggering that the holiday seasons often can cause within us. Now, the last main reason that people relapse during the holidays, and I was definitely guilty of this, is we're at the end of the year. And see, this might have been the year that you told yourself you weren't going to watch any more pornography. And when you get to the end of the year, you have to come to terms with reality that maybe this year didn't go the way you wanted it to. That maybe you're right back where you started at the beginning of last year. See, this is a really difficult time sometimes because we're just confronted with the fact we're still struggling, we're still addicted, and we're really no closer to our desired outcome of full freedom. And I know for me, that was the case most Christmases because I had made New Year's resolutions. I had started with a lot of momentum and a lot of excitement, but December came around and I was confronted with the reality I was still struggling and my plans ultimately failed. Now, let's talk about what you can do to not just stay clean during the holidays, but if you can stay clean during the holidays, you can actually start the new year with some really good momentum and ensure that you do in fact quit pornography for good next year. Now, if we keep in mind the common phrase that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection, Probably the best thing you can do during the holidays is seek meaningful connection. Now, some connections are going to be built in. You see your family, you go to work parties. Those are things that are mandated and they are what they are. And maybe that's where you have really meaningful connection. And if you do, then you're blessed and you should really be present and make sure you can attend as many of those events as possible. Now, if some of those mandatory events aren't that meaningful to you, but you have other friendships and other relationships that are, make them a priority. Be intentional. Carve out time. Even just an hour of meaningful connection during the Christmas holidays can go a really long way to ensuring that your heart is staying full. And if your heart is full, you're going to be less likely to watch pornography. Now, that is for connecting with other people, and that's very important. But our second thing we want to do is we want to focus on our connection with God. Again, it's easy to get caught up in the chaos of Christmas. The presents and the parties and the food and the treats and the traditions. And it all starts to pile up. And before you know it, what should have been a really relaxing and free week is gone, just like that. Make sure that you are setting aside time to connect with God, especially if you feel like you've been dealing with disconnection from God, you're feeling maybe ashamed for the way this year's gone, or you're struggling with pornography. This is your opportunity to plug in, leverage all the Christmas joy, all the extra Christmas activities, maybe some extra church services, some extra community touch points. Leverage all of that to have meaningful interactions with God. Pray, read the Bible, worship, do whatever it is that you need to reconnect with Him. This is going to be critical to ensure that your priorities stay in the right place during this season and that you enter the new year with a lot of momentum. And if you connect with God in a meaningful way, again, a more satisfied heart is less likely to wander into things like pornography. And lastly, and super importantly, structure your time. Okay, this is a little bit of a falsehood. We think that, wow, this is the Christmas holidays and I don't have to get up at a certain time. I can go to bed whenever I want. I don't have the regular work day. I don't have all my regular responsibilities. And we let our minds go absolutely crazy. The reality is men need structure 24/7. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is. You and I need structure. Now, I'm not saying that you need to schedule every single minute of your holidays. Far from it. What I recommend is that you have 3 priorities every single day and that you ensure those priorities get fulfilled no matter what. That in of itself is going to give you some nice structure to your day. It's going to keep your mind focused and it's going to stop you from kind of spiraling out of control into this freedom frenzy where you end up having these massive binges and massive relapses. That's how I used to fall into pornography during the holidays. I would just go crazy because I could sleep in, I could stay up late watching movies, and you can kind of just imagine how, 1 or 2 days of this, maybe not a big deal, but a full week, a full 2 weeks, things start to add up. And all of a sudden I'm in these really bad habits. My mind is in a bad place and I'm watching a lot of pornography as a result. Structuring your time, even just a little bit during the holidays, is going to be a game changer for you to ensure you start the new year a clean man. Now, if you want some more help quitting pornography, you can check me out on Instagram. I post content there every single day to help guys like you. And if you have a specific question or you want some specific insights, you can hit me up in my DMs. I respond to every single message that comes through. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.